Welcome to Figure Feedback. My name is Jeremy, and today is a July 4th themed video. And in the run-up to today, the 4th of July, which is Independence Day in the United States, I decided to find some cool America-themed 3D prints, print them out, and show you guys here today. So these are things that you don't have to be celebrating the 4th of July in order to enjoy. I think that these are some pretty cool models in their own right. And I'm going to leave links to them down in the description. And I also want to say a very special thank you to Ace Additive for providing some of the filament that I use to create these 3D prints. So America is a pretty big country. I think a lot of us don't quite realize how massive it is because we tend to stay within a few states of where we live. And that's especially true if we don't do a whole lot of traveling. So I thought that it would be a great idea to brush up on the knowledge of where the heck all these 50 states are. And I printed out this United States puzzle. Now this was printed on the Bamboo Lab A1 with the AMS light using random colors for these states, and they're all laid out right here. Now the cool thing about this puzzle is it doesn't have spots for each state, so you have to, learn where they go. So we got the states that are some of the more well-known states that you can immediately put pieces down for, like Texas, Florida, California, Alaska, and then you can just sort of build up around it. You know where your state is, and you will probably know what states to the left and to the right and maybe up and down from you, but the rest you might not know about. For example, I came from Indiana and now I'm in Georgia. But if you asked me in the past where exactly is Wyoming, I would say it's somewhere over there. Maybe. Is it by South Dakota? Maybe, probably, I don't know, because I never really go over there to the Great Plains and to the west. But now with this puzzle that I think is good for adults and kids, and you can color it up in whichever way that you want, you will know exactly where everything is. So when you're looking at that weather report and you're hearing about that bad weather over there in, let's say, Oklahoma or Kansas, you'll know exactly where it is. And so you'll just be more knowledgeable about that situation. So this came out absolutely perfectly. It doesn't take a ton of filament in order to make this. Filled up the entire build plate on the A1 all the way to the edge, and it just printed beautifully. So I highly recommend this United States puzzle to brush up on all 50 states and all of their glory. And speaking of states, maybe there's a state that you are really fond of, and maybe if you are even luckier, there is a model of that state that you can print out, at least a very popular portion of the state, like this right here. So this is a model of Manhattan, Lower Manhattan in New York, and it's a top-down view of it, and you can see all of the buildings and the geographical structure of those buildings in this particular place in New York right here, printed in white filament. So it's like you're looking at Google Earth from the top down, but it's in physical form. And then the blue here is just a thin sheet of printed filament that represents the water, and it just looks really cool. The creator of this has created models for different states, usually more like downtown portions of states. So you're probably going to be able to find the state that you live in or state that you really like, so that you can print out a model like this, so you can just have it on display, and it just looks real cool. There's even little nameplates that you can print out and just put on the front so that people who are walking by can go, oh wow, that is pretty cool. What's that over there? Is that this building? And yeah, it totally is. So this is for New York. And then this over here is for Chicago. I grew up close to Chicago, close enough so that my favorite sports teams growing up were Chicago sports teams and not Indiana sports teams, because I was closer to Chicago. But here is a look at Chicago, downtown Chicago, and this looks really cool. The taller the buildings are, the more dynamic it will look as well. I also have one for Atlanta, downtown Atlanta. You can make out where the Mercedes-Benz Stadium is, and there's just different models like this that this creator provides. There's going to be links in the description to everything that I show you here today. today, so maybe you'll be able to find your state or state that you like there, and then you can print out some, I guess, topography of the downtown area. So I thought that was really, really cool. Now, another thing I want to show is a model that is not a state, but it is in a state, and it represents the nation's capital. And I was actually really surprised with how this turned out, even though I printed it quite small. So this is the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C. And it was printed with no supports whatsoever. No supports for this. And then the detail surprisingly came out pretty good. I used a 0.4 millimeter nozzle, and I did lower the layer height, I think, to 0.12, I think. But it still looks really good, and it didn't take a long time to print. So I would imagine using like a 0.2 millimeter nozzle, if you're really wanting to get the fine detail, can make it look even better. And then you can even scale it up, make it even larger. And the other thing about this Capitol building here is that you have the left side and the right side, and they detach just like this. And then you can just easily reattach it because everything's better together. You see that? And so I thought that this was a really cool model. It's a nice miniature model of the Capitol building. So if you wanted to have some iconic buildings in your collection that represent the United States of America, well, you might as well just head on to the nation's capital. You got that right here. And then, since we went small, we got to go big. And what's bigger in stature as well as in principle than Lady Liberty? So here's the Statue of Liberty that I broke down into different parts here. So let me just put her down here. So now we have this piece right here. Put that piece down there. And then there's Lady Liberty on top. Let's rotate her. This is a big print, and this isn't even the biggest that it can get. I actually scaled this down to around 85% of its original size, and it just, wow, it just came out really good. The most time consuming part was the first part, this main base right here, which I believe the very first base does not need supports, but everything else does need support. And it just, wow, it looks really good. This is a very great stature. You can definitely put this on an end table somewhere in your garage, work area, whatever. You have a really nice big model of the Statue of Liberty right there. Oh, it's just fantastic. And everything came out good too. You even have some fine detail down here where you can see some chains down there. You got the torch right there. It's just a really awesome piece to showcase. And if you have filament of a different color, then you can make this look really good without even having to paint it. Perhaps you can have some sort of brownish filament that you can use for the base, and then if you have some lighter green, so like a patina kind of a color, you can use that to make up the Statue of Liberty itself, and it won't require you to paint it. Or you can just grab a couple cans of spray paint and take care of it that way. But whichever way you choose to do, this is definitely one of my favorite prints of today. Beautiful, beautiful piece of work here. And now finally, to represent the red, white, and blue in the most perfect way possible. Someone who is the ideal American citizen, someone that everyone should be able to look up to and say, that's the person we want on our jersey. And it is none other than Captain America. So I decided to print his shield in a different kind of a way. This is Captain America's shield, but hey, check it out. It looks really artsy fartsy, doesn't it? And this was also printed on the Bamboo Lab A1, and the Statue of Liberty was on the Flash Forge Adventurer 5M. But another reason why I wanted to print this Captain America shield in this kind of design, which pretty much took up the entire build plate, is because even though it's a multicolor print, there were only about 7 filament changes throughout the entire process. So the waste is extremely minimal. I saw a more traditional Captain America shield that I've thought about printing out, except that one was going to take a little over a day to print, and around 300 to 400 different filament changes. And I just didn't want to go through all of the waste. And plus, I think that this looks, it's different and looks cooler. And hey, you can stick this up on your wall. It's completely flat right there on the back. So you can even put like some double-sided tape and stick that up on your wall. In fact, I might just get like some sticky tack, some blue tack or something like that, and just see how well this would work up against this wall. I think that it will look pretty good, and really no matter which way you turn it, it's still going to look good because those stars are going to be facing up. So yeah, these were some very cool prints that I happened to come across and thought that today would be a very appropriate day to share them all with you. And remember, links to all of this is going to be down in the description. And I think that all of these are definitely prints that even when the 4th of July is over and you start taking things down and you're sweeping away the residue of fireworks, these are things that you don't have to sweep away. These are things that you don't have to put into the closet, because these are going to withstand the test of time for the entire year and beyond. So that's it, you guys. And once again, thank you to Ace Additive for providing some of the filament that I use to print out these models. So I'll leave a link to their website in the description as well. So that's it for now. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Have a great 4th of July, and I'll see you next time.